Good morning. Today is fucking fucked up hair Friday. um, Gonna do some daily readings. All right. Today is it the 23rd? I think it's the 23rd October. All right. These aren't from a book, but they're from a piece of paper. All right. The quote says, self-knowledge and self-improvement are very difficult for most people. It usually needs great courage and long struggle. This is a simple program, but it isn't easy. We cannot take the principles we learn and thereby possess them as if we were taking a class or reading a book. We need to live them. We can only get this program by participating with others who are also on the journey. Gradually, we absorb it into every fiber of our being. This takes time and dedication. The honesty required is sometimes frightening and painful. Any who remains faithful to this program has great courage and deserves deep respect. But we do not have to wait long to begin receiving the rewards. New freedoms, good feelings, and friendships quickly develop. And we are promised in this program to continue growing and receive more benefits throughout our lives. What rewards have come from our courage and struggle? I will give much to my spiritual growth. It gives much to me. Surrender. The quote is, by surrendering control, we gain a far greater power. When we were using, we did everything we could to run things our way. We used every scheme imaginable to bring our world under control. When we got what we wanted, we felt powerful, invincible. When we didn't, we felt vulnerable and defeated. But that didn't stop us. It only led to more efforts to control and manipulate our lives into a manageable state. Scheming was our way of denying our powerlessness. As we long could distract ourselves with our plans, we could put off accepting that we were out of control. Only gradually did we realize that our lives had become unmanageable and that all the cunning and manipulating in the world was not going to put our lives back in order. When we admit our powerlessness, we stop trying to control and manage our way to a better life. We surrender. Lacking sufficient power of our own, we seek a power greater than ourselves. Needing support and guidance, we ask that power to care for our will in our lives. We ask others in recovery to share their experience with the NA program instead of trying to program our own lives. The power and direction we seek is all around us. We need only turn away from self to find it, just for today. I will not try to scheme and manipulate my way to a manageable life. Through the NA program, I will surrender myself to my higher power's care. I am in God's hands. I totally surrendered back in March. And everything's just been so friggin' awesome since then. Okay, thought for the day. Third, I learned how to be honest. What a relief. No more ducking or dodging. No more tall tales. No more pretending to be what I am not. My cards are on the table for the entire world to see. I am what I am. As Popeye used to say in those comics. I have had an unsavory past. I am sorry yet, but it cannot be changed now. All that is yesterday and is done, but now my life is an open book. Come and look at it if you want to. I'm trying to do the best I can. I will fail often, but I won't make excuses. I will face things as they are and not run away. Am I really honest? Meditation for the day. Though it may seem a paradox, we must believe in spiritual forces which we cannot see more than in material things which we can see if we are going to truly live. In the last analysis, the universe consists more of thought or mathematical formulas than it does of matter as we understand it. Between one human being and another, only spiritual forces will suffice to keep them in harmony. These spiritual forces we know because we can see their results, although we cannot see them. A changed life, a new personality, results from the power of unseen spiritual forces working in us and through us. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may believe in the unseen. I pray that I may be convinced by the results of the unseen which I do see. Morning cues. There is an important message for us first thing every day. Often we get started with the day. We may not listen as closely to life and ourselves as we do in those still moments when we first awaken. An ideal time to listen to ourselves is when we are laying quietly, our defenses are down. Yes? Why are you laughing at me? And we're open and most vulnerable. What is the first feeling that floods through us? The feeling that perhaps we are trying to avoid during the business of the day? Are we angry, frustrated, hurt, or confused? That is what we need to focus on and work through. That's the issue we need to address. When you awaken, what is the first idea or thought that enters your mind? Do you need to finish a timely project? Are you in need of a fun day, a restful day? Do you feel sick and need to nurture yourself? Are you in a negative frame of mind? Do you have an issue to resolve with someone? Do you need to tell someone something? Is something bothering you? Is something feeling particularly good? Does an idea occur to you, something you could get or do that would feel good? When you awaken, what is the first issue that presents itself? You don't have to be fearful. You don't have to rush. You can lay still and listen and accept the message. We can define some of our recovery goals for the day by listening to the morning message. God, help me let go of my need to be in resistance to the harmonic flow of life. Help me to learn to go with the flow and accept the help and the support that you have to offer me. One thing that's also about being sober, which looks damn good on me, is being able to make correct choices and also being present and available. Because when I'm in active addiction, I don't know where the hell I am, but I'm not anywhere where I'm supposed to be. That's for sure. All right, first book I'm going to read from is called God Calling. It's supposed to be as if God's talking to you. No, I'm not God, but it's supposed, obviously, but it's supposed to be like he's, trying to communicate with you via this book. All right, October 23rd, Hill of Sacrifice. You must trust to the end. You must be ready to go on, trusting to the last hour. You must know even when you cannot see. You must be ready, like my servant Abraham, to climb the very hill of sacrifice, to go to the very last moment before you see my deliverance. The final test has to come to all who walk by faith. You must rely on me alone. Look to no other arm. Look for no other help. Trust in the spirit forces of the unseen, not in those you see. Trust and fear not. The daily reading I got today had also had stuff talking about the unseen. I trust that God knows exactly what he's doing and that he's going to take care of me every step of the way. And because of that, my trust issues have been getting better because he has not let me down yet. And it's pretty freaking amazing. The next day I'm going to read is the next book I'm going to read is called Each Day a New Beginning. It's daily meditation for women and it's based on AA, but like I said before, anybody can relate. The quote is, "Words are more powerful than perhaps anyone suspects, and once deeply engraved into a child's mind, they are not easily eradicated." How burdened we became as little kids, with labels applied by parents, teachers, even school chums. We believe about ourselves what others teach us to believe. The messages aren't always overt, but even the very subtle ones are etched in our minds, and they remind us of our shortcomings long into adulthood. Try as we might to forget the criticisms, the names, the linger in our memories, and influence of our self-perceptions as adults. The intervening years have done little to erase whatever emotional scars we acquired as children. Our partnership with God will help us understand that we are spiritual beings with a wonderful purpose in this life, and we are as lovely, as capable, as successful as we perceive ourselves to be. Our own thoughts and words, our own labels can become as powerful as those of our youth. It takes practice to believe in ourselves, but we can break the past's hold on us. My higher power will help me to know the real me. I am all that I have ever needed to be. I am special, and I will come to believe that. We are all special. We all matter. We all have a purpose. No matter what anybody's doing right now, we all deserve the best that God has to offer, and each and one of us can do whatever we want. Put your mind to it, and you do. From my experience, do the right things and make the right choices, and anything's possible with God. All right, next book I'm going to read out of is called From Faith to Faith, Daily Guide to Victory. Choose life. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. If you were given the choice between life and death, which would you choose? The answer seems obvious, but in reality it's not. You see, choosing death doesn't necessarily mean jumping from the nearest cliff. It's much more subtle than that. The Bible says death is being carnally minded, being entangled in this present worldly realm. The Bible also tells us what life is. My son, attend to my words, says Proverbs 4, verse 20 and 22, for they are life. To be worldly minded is death, to be word minded is life. In Luke 10, there is a story that illustrates this principle extremely well. It's the story of Mary and Martha. You probably remember it. Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet listening to him teach while Martha was bustling around in the kitchen cooking dinner for everyone. Finally, Martha couldn't stand it anymore. She came to Jesus and said, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work myself? Tell her to help me. Jesus answered, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary has chosen that good part which shall not be taken away from her. Mary had set everything else aside so she could hear the word, but Martha had let the seemingly important business of living take priority over the world. She's chosen death, not life. You see how easy it is to slip into that? But Brother Copeland, you say, if I didn't spend all my time taking care of the business of living, my life would fall apart. Oh, really? Martha probably thought that too. She probably thought if she didn't cook dinner for all those folks, they'd go hungry, but they wouldn't have. Jesus had miraculously fed multitudes before, and he could have done it again in Martha's home. She could have plopped herself down at Jesus' feet, and they could have had a banquet at God's expense. Don't make the mistake that Martha did. Don't go getting so entangled in the business of living that you choose death by default. Decide to put the word first place. Choose life. I like that one. I feel like there's a time for everything, and everything has its time. And I know a lot of people probably rush. If you slow down a little bit and try to prioritize things that will benefit you spiritually, it'll work out for you in the end. And I know it's really hard to try to balance life out. Just try to remember to you gotta take care of yourself first. You gotta care about yourself first. You gotta do for you first before you can do anything for anybody else, no matter what it is, because it's not gonna be like a whole. It's not gonna blossom the way you want it to blossom. No, flowers just don't grow up, bud, and blossom overnight. It takes a little while. So you gotta water it, you gotta maybe replant it, change the dirt, prune it, check on it. If it gets sick, you gotta give it medicine. And then before you know it, you got this beautiful flower, and you did all that hard work, and it shows. You put the hard work into things, it will show. But just make sure your pride and your ego, try to make sure you got that stuff on hold, because it's a sin to be full of pride. It's the things of the unseen that matter the most. All right, the next book I'm reading from is called Jesus Calling. It says if Jesus is talking to you. As you turn your attention to me, feel the light of my presence shining upon you. Open your mind and heart to receive my heavenly smile of approval. Let my gold-tinged love wash over you and soak into the depths of your being. As you are increasingly filled with my being, you will experience joyous union with me, I in you and you in me. Your joy in me and my joy in you become intertwined and inseparable. I suffuse your soul with joy in my presence. At my right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. I accept Jesus into my heart, and he's with me 24/7. I never have to feel alone, and I never ever have to feel unloved ever again. And it's just so amazing. All right. The last one I'm reading from is All God's Creatures. It's Daily Devotions for Animal Lovers. Okay. The Persistent Prayer Poodle. One day Jesus told his disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. Luke chapter 18, verse 1. And this is the story. I wasn't a fan, not the story from the Bible, but from this book. I wasn't a fan of the toy poodle a caring friend gave my children when they were small. Owachi was a high-maintenance pup given to howling when my youngest cried and required constant grooming. But as they say, free is free, and my children adored all 5 pounds of him. One February night, I led him outside to handle his business before we all turned in. Moments later, he was gone. We searched to no avail. My children were inconsolable, especially when daylight arrived and their beloved dog still hadn't turned up. We did all we could to find him, but weeks passed and no one called. My husband and I assumed a coyote had mistaken him for Chow, but my children refused to give up hope. Nightly, they prayed for the poodle's safe return. After a month, I tried to manage their prayer expectations, but they wouldn't have it. They persisted. Come June, we discussed finding a new dog. My youngest pouted that we'd given up faith. 2 nights later, my husband answered the phone and turned to me amazed. That was a woman 30 miles from here. She wandered into her yard and he's fine. In fact, he'd gained 2 pounds and was still wearing our tags. We'll never know how he spent the better part of 5 months, but my daughter didn't care. Ha! Exclaimed my daughter. I told you God was listening. I never did give up, did I? Part of me wanted to tell her that every dog isn't found and every prayer is an answer, but I was too much in awe of what God had done in response to the persistent prayers of a child. Walk in faith. How often do we manage our own expectations instead of persevering in prayer as God has taught us to do? Better to come to Him with persistent, childlike faith. Prepare for surprise. Let us not lose heart. Hope is awesome. If you're struggling right now and you want to get well, if you're at that point and you just keep stumbling, you'll get it. Just don't give up. Just keep trying. It's true what they say about the people, places, and things. Like, that silly saying, you're in a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut. Like, the whole AANA thing, the sayings, the steps, all the stuff. Like, it really does help and it really does work. It's proven over and over again. I mean, I just started getting into, like, the AA stuff. I enjoy it and I like it. But I'm doing whatever I need to do. So, yeah, I don't know. Have a good day.